If I had to recommend just one practice that you could do daily and regularly to maintain the flexibility, strength, and balance of your whole body, this is that practice. So this is something you can come back to day after day, week after week, just as regular maintenance to do a whole body, well-rounded yoga practice. So we all know the benefits of yoga at this point. It's well documented. And consistency, consistently practicing is way more important than just doing random classes occasionally. And addressing the whole body holistically is more important than just trying to stretch to your full range of motion in some poses. So in this class, in this sequence today, it's a full body, well-rounded, whole body practice that you can do in about an hour, and it addresses all the major muscles of the body, building strength, flexibility, and balance. If you like this video and this practice, check out quietmind.yoga at the link below. That's my website where you can sign up for trainings and courses for beginners, intermediate, and advanced levels, no matter where you are. This practice is suited to all levels, but if you want more specific in-depth training and courses specific to where you're at and how you can progress your practice, go to quietmind.yoga, do the free little quiz, and I'll recommend my best programs that are going to best serve you for where you're at. So thank you for watching and hope you enjoy your practice. And if you do, please like, comment, and subscribe. That helps the channel immensely. And thank you for doing your practice. I hope you enjoy. And we'll start from here with some simple movements of the spine. So let's bring the hands to the knees and just start to move the spine a little forward, back, side to side. Any sort of movements that feel good, all the way up into the neck and shoulders. Starting to ease into our time to practice today. And we'll just do a nice, well-rounded, whole body practice, a little bit of everything, strength, flexibility, balance. And let's come into a side bend here. Reach your left arm out to your left, your right arm up overhead. And you can add a little rotation down or up if you want, stretching into the side. You can let your head hang down or move your neck around if you want. And then we'll go over to the other side, same thing. It's a simple side bend. And we'll come back up to the center and move the shoulders up and down a couple of times. Make circles in both directions in the shoulders. You can move your neck around. Just freeing up some of the more surface layer tensions. And then we'll come over to hands and knees and start to move a little bit. Moving your spine, hips, and shoulders any way that feels good for you. And we'll start to work our way up through the feet, starting with your toes tucked. Sit back towards your heels, and then start to sit up onto your feet, stretching into the feet and toes. From here, you could interlace your fingers and press your arms forward to round your back, moving your shoulder blades apart. And shoulders in protraction, moving apart. And then we'll let that go and come back down to hands and knees, releasing your feet. So now point your fingers back towards your knees, stretching into your wrists and forearms. And you can kind of shift back and maybe lean to one side or the other. So we're going to address all the muscles of the body. Always a good thing to do at least once a week, just to stretch and bring attention to all the muscles of the body. And then we'll let that go. With the tops of your feet down, start to sit back onto your heels and lean back to lift your knees. Any amount in that direction at least. Stretching into your shins and ankles. And then you can stay there or interlace your hands and press your arms up overhead. Pressing your hands up towards the ceiling, heart forward and up, shoulder blades down and together. Then we'll let that go, release the hands down, and now have the top of the left hand down, palm facing up. Fingers pointing back as you lean back towards your feet, shifting weight into the wrist and forearm and the other side. And then we'll just kind of shake out the left hand and go to the right hand. Palm faces up. Shift your weight back to stretch into your wrist and hand. And then shake out your right hand, loosening up. And now with toes tucked, start to come up to downward facing dog. And you can bend one knee at a time, easing into your calves and hamstrings. And keep your left knee bent now and press your right heel down, getting into the right calf, maybe even right heel towards the ground. And switch, right knee bends, left heel presses down, holding there. And now again, your left knee bends, but your right toes turn out to the right. So you're getting into the outer shin and outer hip. You can even kind of lean your weight towards your right hip. And then to the other side now, right knee bends, left toes turn out to the left, and shift your weight into your left hip. Hold and breathe there. And we'll come back to the center, down to the hands and knees, and to a cow pose, extending your spine, arching your back, and then to cat pose, rounding your back, chin to chest. A few times with your breath, inhaling to cow and exhaling to cat. Creating a wave of motion through the spine as we start to move into the spinal movements. And then we'll come into the cat pose and hold there, rounding the back. Press into your hands, shoulder blades apart. And you can add here by lifting your knees a little bit off the ground. And if you want even more, have the tops of your feet down, lift your knees a little bit off the ground. Hold and breathe, strengthening core, quads, hip flexors, and then let all that release down into a heart opener here. Arms reach forward like a Y, forehead down or chin down, lengthening the spine. Hips are over the knees. And we'll hold and breathe here. And walk your hands to your left into a side bend. Right ribs get long. You can even sort of press into your left hand and lean into your right ribs. And then we'll walk the hands over to the other side. Same thing. You can press into your right hand, lean into your left ribs. And we'll come back to the center into a twist. Right arm underneath, right shoulder down. Left hand can press here. You can also extend your left leg and press into your foot. Different angles to work with the upper back and the spine. So we're including all movements of the spine, all types of postures, twists, back bends, forward folds, inversions later. And we'll slowly come back down to the other side. Same thing, left arm underneath, left shoulder down, and you can press into your right hand. You can extend your right leg, press into the foot. Breathe into your upper back. And then we'll come back to the hands and knees and step the right foot forward into a low lunge. We'll move a few times here with the breath, inhaling forward into a deeper lunge and exhaling back into half splits. You can slightly bend your knee So inhaling forward, exhaling back a few times. If you can get your leg more straight, then go for it. But if the hamstrings are tense, having a little bend in the knee is okay. And next time you come back into half splits, we'll hold there. Right leg is straight, and you can even point your toes here to get more stretch into the shin and tibialis, the front of the ankle. Or you could flex your toes, get more into the calf and the back of the leg. Either way is fine. And then we'll come forward into a lunge. And here you can stay like that, or come down to your hands or elbows inside of your foot. More flexibility, more grounding. Or raise your arms up into a low crescent lunge on Janayasana, more energizing, more of a back bend. Either way is fine. Listen to what your body needs today. And now we'll all lower the hands down inside of the foot to Malasana. Step your left foot up to the left side of your mat and lower your hips down into a low squat. Heels are down, but if that's a little too much, you could have your heels lifted. And here your hands can be on the floor to help you balance, or hands to your heart. Hold and breathe. And we'll lower the hands to step the right foot back, right knee down, and move with the breath here into the connective tissue of the hips, inhaling forward and exhaling back to half splits. And now next time you come back to the half splits, we'll stay there and hold and breathe. Again, you can point your toes, stretching the front of the shin and ankle, or flex your toes, getting more into the back of the leg. It's okay if your back rounds here. This angle, we get a pretty good focus on the left leg. And then we'll come forward into any version of the lunge. You can come down, more flexibility, more grounding, or rise up, more energizing. Couple of breaths here. And we'll all bring the hands down inside of the left foot for Malasana. Again, step your right foot up to the right edge of the mat and lower the hips down into this low squat. Hands can help you balance, or hands at the heart. Couple breaths here. And then we'll lower the hands down and lift the hips up to a forward fold. Feet can step about hips width apart, and your knees can bend here. You can hold your elbows, you can grab your legs, any variation of this forward fold. You can move your head around if you want. Then we'll step back to a plank pose, high push-up position, and we start to get some upper body strength activating now in the shoulders, chest, arms. Hold and breathe here. And lower knees down all the way to your stomach. For locust pose, arms reach back, heart lifts up, and legs lift. Slightly bend your knees, activating the whole back side of your body. Triceps, hamstrings, even point your toes to get your calves working. Hold here in the locust, and then let everything release down to your stomach, and come back to a child's pose. with either knees apart, arms forward, or knees together, arms back. And take a couple slow, deep belly breaths here. Now we'll start to move the breath and body in sync. We'll come up to hands and knees and just step back up to the forward fold. And with a bend in your knees, engage your core to roll up to stand. Head comes up last. In mountain pose, arms beside you. Now we'll start to move with the breath. So as you inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And as you exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale to lift halfway up, lengthen your spine. Exhale to plank pose. Hold for an inhale. Exhale to chaturanga or belly, lower down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, down dog. Inhale and down dog to reach your right leg straight back. Exhale to step it forward into a low lunge, left knee down. Inhale, arms sweep up like a Y. And exhale, lower your hands, plank pose. Hold for an inhale. Exhale, chaturanga or belly. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, down dog. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, step forward, low lunge, right knee down. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, lower your hands, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine, half lift. Exhale, forward fold, round your back. Inhale, rise all the way up, strong core, arms reach up. And exhale, hands to heart, mountain pose. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, half lift, strong back. Exhale, plank pose. Hold for an inhale. Exhale, chaturanga or belly. Inhale, you can go to locust, cobra, or up dog. And exhale, back to down dog. You can always do any of those variations that you want. Inhale, right leg reaches back. Exhale, step your right foot forward into a high lunge, back knee lifted. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, lower your hands, vinyasa or right to down dog. So you can do any of those variations, chaturanga, up dog, down dog, belly, locust, whatever you want to work on today. Meeting back in down dog. From down dog, inhale your left leg back. And exhale, step forward into a high lunge, back knee is lifted. Inhale, sweep your arms up like a Y. And exhale, lower your hands, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up, long spine, strong back. And exhale, forward fold, round your back. Inhale to sweep your arms up. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to chair pose. Hold and breathe in chair. Arms could be like a Y or hands at your heart. Feet can be hips distance or together, whatever feels natural for you. Just make sure your knees and toes are pointing the same direction. And exhale, forward fold, round your back. Inhale, half lift, strengthen your back. And exhale to vinyasa or right to down dog. Next, inhale, reach your right leg back and open your hip with a bend in your knee, moving your heel towards your tail. Hold there. And now step your right foot all the way up to Warrior Two. Back heel turns down, arms extend out, shoulder blades move together and down on your back. Your feet press down and apart, like you're trying to pull the ground apart with your feet. Just make sure your front knee and toe point straight ahead in the same direction. Now palms up, reverse warrior, reach back, side bend here. And float your hands down, vinyasa or right to down dog. Awesome. Left leg reaches back, open your left hip with a bend in your knee. Heel towards your tail. And now step your left foot all the way up to Warrior Two. Back heel turns down, arms extend out. Shoulder blades together and down on your back. Strong outer hips, strong legs pressing down and apart. Whole body active here. Steady gaze over your front fingertips. And now palms up, reverse warrior, reach back. And float your hands down, vinyasa or right to down dog. And we'll hold down dog or child's pose, about 5 breaths here. A couple more breaths here, centering. And then we'll start to come up to the front of the mat to a forward fold. And back to the chair pose. Hips move back and down, arms up like a Y or in prayer. Hold and breathe. And rise up to stand. Inhale and reach. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold all the way down. And bring your feet together, knees apart, setting up for crow pose. So it's a perched position to start. If you know crow a different way, you can always do that too. But otherwise, shift your weight to your hands, bring your knees to your triceps, and shift forward to bring your heels to your tail to hold and breathe in crow. I have about 20 more seconds here to work with this. If you want to come in and out or come in for a second and hold. Or just work on shifting weight into your hands. And if you can hold it for a moment or two, you could jump back to chaturanga, up dog, down dog, or any other variation of the vinyasa. Then from here, we'll lift the right leg back in down dog. Inhale to reach your right leg back. And exhale to step your right foot forward into a high lunge, high crescent lunge. And this time we'll hold it for a few breaths. Arms up like a Y. Or you could bend your elbows like a W, lifting your heart. Or just hands on waist. And again, you want to make sure your joints are lined up. So your hips, knees, and toes are pointing the same direction. So there's no twisting at the knees. Now here, reach your arms back like locust, lifting your heart strong back. Lean forward to warrior 3. Lift your back leg any amount off the floor. At first to be more like a diagonal line, but eventually more parallel to the floor. Just like locust, strong back. And we'll come back down to the lunge to warrior 2. Back heel turns down, arms extend out. And then bring your left hand to your left hip and your right hand to the right corner or a block for half moon pose, lifting your back leg any amount, opening your left hip. Left toes and knee belly button point out to the left. And slowly back down to warrior 2. For side angle pose, right forearm to thigh. And start to make circles of your left shoulder in all directions, moving the shoulder joint any way that feels good. And now wrap your left arm around your back. Internal rotation, hold there. And you could stay just like that or go into a bind, your right shoulder inside your knee to reach back and clasp your hands. And then we'll release from where you're at to plank pose. Plank pose to side plank, right hand a little forward from center. Stack your feet or lower your right knee down. And if you want more challenge, you lift your left leg. Maybe even reach your left arm overhead. Nice. And we'll lower back down. So other side, side plank. Left hand down. Feeling shoulder, upper body strength, core strength. Couple breaths. And then we'll lower down all the way to your stomach for locust pose. Arms back, heart lifts, strong back. Our back is actually meant to be almost twice as strong as the front of the body. So more back strengthening is never a bad idea. And we'll slowly lower it down and come back to downward facing dog. And here, reach your left leg straight back. Inhale. And exhale, step forward into a high lunge. Arms reach back again like locust to reach forward. But we can reach the arms up here and come into a Y or W or hands on waist. Any of the variations of the lunge you want to do with your arms here. Again, just check your alignment. Your hips, knees, and toes pointing same direction. And now we'll all come into those locust arms, reaching back, leaning forward to lift off to warrior 3, moving towards parallel to the floor. And it's okay if you just lift your back foot a little bit and you start a diagonal line. Main thing is the strength of your back, glutes, hamstrings, the whole back of the body. And then lower back down to the lunge for warrior 2. Back heel down, arms extend out. And right hand to right hip. Left hand to left corner or a block. Half moon pose. Lift your back leg up to parallel to the floor. And slowly back down to the warrior 2. For side angle pose, left forearm to thigh. Right arm makes circles and movements in all directions. And now wrap your arm around your back, palm faces away. Stay there or bind, shoulder inside the knee to reach back and clasp your hands. Now we'll release from there down to plank pose. For side plank, right hand just a little forward from center, stacking your feet, or right knee down. It could also be on your right forearm if you want. Any variation of side plank. And I'll lower down to the other side, left hand a little forward from center. And then we'll come back down all the way to your stomach for locust pose, strong back. Stay there, or bow pose, bend your knees and grab your feet. And if you're in the bow, hips press down, everything else lifts up. And then slowly release when you're ready and come back to child's pose or down dog. Now we'll come up to hands and knees. We'll have some time with inversions. So I'll give you three options here. Number one would be holding down dog, just stay there. Number two would be wide-legged forward fold, which we will come to together in a minute. And number three would be kicking up to handstand, and you can use a wall for this of just any amount kicking up to handstand. You might hold it there. You might do little hops. But we'll have the next minute or so to be upside down, head below the heart. Any of these variations you want to work on, or if there's another inversion you want to do, you can do that. And then we'll slowly transition so we're all in the wide-legged forward fold. And you can have your hands on blocks or the floor. Any arm variation you want to do. Again, main thing is just getting your head below your heart. Starts to get us out of the active sympathetic nervous system mode that we were just in for a while. Now more into the passive parasympathetic nervous system mode. Rest, digest, heal, restore, and increase flexibility and deeper flexibility. And from here, bring your hands under your shoulders to the floor or your blocks and start to bend into one knee, left to right. Dynamic stretching into your inner hips. And then we'll come into Skandasana. Bend your right knee, turn your left toes up into a half squat, half hip stretch. And you could stay right there or balance with one hand at your heart or both hands at your heart. Or if you want another shoulder opener, wrap your right arm around your right leg, palm faces away, kind of like that bind earlier. And you can reach your left arm behind your back to clasp your hands. Or just work in that direction if you want. And we'll let wherever you're doing, let that go and go over to the other side. Skandasana, this half squat. Again, you can do any of these variations. Prayer hands or bind your arms behind you. And then we'll slowly come back to the wide-legged forward fold. Heel toe your feet in a step or two to a horse stance with your hands on your thighs. And turn your shoulder to opposite knee. Getting into the upper back, subscapular muscles in the shoulder, deeper shoulder muscles. And then back to the center for heel toe your feet in again down to Malasana. Get into that low squat we did earlier. Hands at the heart. And then hands down behind you to lower down. Feet together, knees apart in bound angle. And you could stay sitting tall or fold over your legs. Now we'll start to hold some postures a little longer, going into deeper flexibility now that we've warmed everything up. And we'll start to sit up here and lean back on your hands to bring your knees together. So you're in this crab shape, kind of leaning on your hands, and let your knees move a little left to right. And let your knees come to your left and stay there down to the floor into deer pose. So your right knee comes to your left foot. And turn to your left, down to your hands or elbows, rotating your spine so you get this stretch in your lower right side of your back. And the QL, quadratus lumborum, down to elbows or hands or blocks. And then we'll come up to the other side, same thing. Knees to your right, left knee to your right foot. And turn down to the hands or elbows. And we'll start to sit back up. And come back to sitting and come over to hands and knees. So here again, moving your spine, hips, and shoulders any way that feels good. We've done some stretching and strengthening throughout pretty much the whole body now. Going a little deeper into the outer hips, right knee towards the right wrist for pigeon pose. Hips square to the ground, and you can come down to your back and do pigeon if you want. Or if there's any knee sensitivity here, you can kind of lean onto your right side and bring your legs up to 90 degrees in that version of pigeon. Either way, we'll hold and breathe for a little while in some version of pigeon. Stretching the deep outer hip muscles, the piriformis, the right hip. Then we'll start to transition to the other side, same thing. Pigeon pose, any variation on the left side. And then we'll transition up to hands and knees, and all the way down to your stomach. To get into the chest and biceps, which we haven't too much today. You'll have your left arm reach straight out to your left and roll onto your left side. So your right foot lands behind you to help you balance. And your right hand you could wrap around your back or just have it on the floor. If this is a little intense though, you could always just do less. You could be more on your stomach. You could lower your left arm instead of have it straight out. But find the right spot for you. We'll hold here for a little bit. Then we'll slowly transition over to the other side. Same thing. So your right arm reaches straight out. Roll onto your right side. The left foot lands behind you. And your left arm could wrap around your back. And we'll slowly let that go back down to the stomach. And here, bring your hands out just to the sides of your shoulders, elbows up over your wrist. So we'll get into some different angles of the shoulder here. As you inhale, you'll lift up into a low cobra. And as you exhale, turn your right ear and right shoulder down, look to your left. We'll do that a couple times. Inhale to the center and exhale to the other side. So inhaling to center and exhaling to turn. And we'll come back to the center and hold there. And just have your fingers down on the floor and move your elbows forward, stretching into your fingers and hand, the palm of your hand. And then we'll just let that go and come back up to hands and knees and over to your back. Laying down on the back with your knees in, rocking side to side. Happy baby pose, holding outside of your knees, shins, or feet. You could stay still or move here. You could extend one leg at a time if you want. And now let your feet down to the floor, knees bent, feet on the floor. And we'll bring the left foot under your right leg to your right hand so that your left knee lower down. So we stretched into the back of the legs, the inner and outer hips, but now focusing on the front of the hip, the quads and the hip flexors. And you could stay just like that or bring your right knee in to your left hand. And we'll hold and breathe here for a little bit, releasing some tension in the quads. And we'll slowly transition to the other side, same thing. Your right foot under your left leg to your left hand. And you could stay just like that, or bring your left knee into your right hand. And we'll slowly release to have both feet on the floor, knees bent, feet on the floor. And lift your hips up over to your left to bring your knees into your right, either stacking the legs or crossing the legs, and arms out like a T or a goalpost. Turn your head away from your knees so your whole spine is in a gentle rotation, twist. So we've done all the movements of the spine, all the types of postures, some strength, flexibility, and balance for the whole body. And now just compressing and creating a little internal compression to center and close. We'll go over to the other side. Hips to the right, knees into the left. Twist on this side. Letting your body become heavier, sinking down to the floor. And we'll come back to the center and let your legs out to the floor. And we'll have 3 minutes in Shavasana to rest in stillness. Letting your body integrate all the work you've done today to heal, recover, repair, and rest. Let your body be like dead weight sinking down to the floor, letting go of any effort. And we'll have the next 2 minutes in silence. Now we'll start to make movements of the arms and legs. And eventually over to your side and back up to sitting. And let's take a moment to close our practice back where we started, noticing the breath and the body. Hands together at the heart to bow the mind to the heart and to each other. Thank you for practicing today. Namaste.